Hi John, Sean here for Datastructures CA3, the screencast from my code. I've already done the demo screencast. I decided to start with the monster class to explain through my code, as most things inherit from that. It's a virtual class, I do believe, because it doesn't have any constructors. All its methods are virtual here. That's, I think, so that the other methods can inherit from them, and that these aren't actually instantiated, I think. Here I have my inclusion guards, my includes, my using libraries, which I tried to inherit from monster into the other classes, but I'm not sure if it worked, so I just decided to play it safe and include some of them, whatever the usings I was using, in that file. I have my public, all my methods, so pretty much my getters and setters and my adding gold and subtracting gold, just basically simple mathematic functions that I need throughout the game. And then my privates are just my member variables, so name, class, attack, defense, speed. The CPP is where you implement them. So I have include monster.h, and then I just have my setters and getters. They're all really simple methods, generally just either, like, minus, they subtract gold given the integer value of g, or they just return the name if you want to get the name. I'm going to go to the opponent next, and I'll talk through this because this is simpler than the player and it inherits from monster. So I have my inclusion guards again and my includes, and then I'm pretty sure this is the syntax for inheritance. So class opponent pretty much just inherits from monster, and then I just included what's different. So the opponent's default constructor and the opponent's advanced constructor, which takes in and sets the stats, so the name and then like the class and the gold and the attack and defense and health. And then I have the defeat function, which is called when he's defeated, so that's pretty much just it gives the player hero, because it just like sets the player hero's gold plus 100 or plus the bounty, so however much the opponent has on them, it gives you their gold and their experience. And get bounty just gets the experience and puts it into the defeat, so it's used in defeat, get bounty. So it's just I call it bounty because you get it when you kill them. So, and then the privates are again just my member variables, and I have bounty in here at the bottom. The implementation is, there's the default constructor, everything's just set to default and healthy, and I think they're defaulted to Virex's stats, and then the advanced constructor takes in the arguments and sets them to those. Defeat, just, it's kind of the cleanup function when you've beaten them. Player gets player to add gold, so you add gold to the player's inventory, go to the player's gold of m gold, which is the member variable of gold for opponent, and then you add the XP M bounty, which is the opponent's experience, and then you set his health to 0, which pretty much just kills him off, and he should hopefully be collected in the garbage collection then. And get bounty is the just to get the amount of XP and gold that you're given when you defeat him. So I don't think I've used that, but I've got it implemented there just in case I needed it. Player.h, I've got my inclusion guards and includes and all that there, just inherits from monster. And then I have the default and advanced constructor, the save and load, because I figured I'd only really need to save and load a character, being as the opponents were going to be randomly generated and the monsters aren't instantiated. So I just put the save and load in player, because that was all I was really going to save and load. And from here I could save and load his inventory, so it would save the objects within his inventory, the items. So I just really thought that I only really needed it in here. I have the get XP and add XP and add level functions. Add level just pluses 1 level and goes into the add level GUI. And then change form is the evolution function. So it goes into the change form GUI, and then the level up just adds one level to his level, so that's called in the add level function, or vice versa, and then it just pluses the 1, so it'll also increase the amount of XP you need to level up to the next time by 100 points and add the 1 extra level. So if you're not 2, you know, if you're lower than level 2, it'll go to lower level 3, etc. Choose starter calls the choose starter GUI, and the set experience just sets your experience to a double, so it's just a setter for XP, and initialize is calls the initialize GUI. Once again, I got my member variables here, and they're all private. And then in the implementation, I've got just variables here that I used in my methods, mainly in the GUIs. Just thought it'd be better to declare them here than declaring them in loops, as it increases efficiency. I've got my enum here for the 3 starters. Just default constructor again, it's very similar to the opponents, and the advanced constructor, once again very similar to the opponents. I used these 2 files here, well, these 2 websites, just to have a look at file.io and try help jog my memory for the save and load files. So save function just opens an outstream called dest file and passes in a reference here. So then this just passes out destination file, nickname, and the nickname, the class, you know, class equals and the class and status and just all that. And then the load file opens an in-stream and passes in a reference to it called source file. And then has a string garbage, which just takes in this here, the stuff in red, and just pretty much discards it because it's garbage, and then takes in the actual thing that matters, so the actual mname variable, the value for that. And then I have setters and getters, and my add XP and add level is just mlevel++. And then my initializer, this is the initialize function. This is called in choose starter. It just says before you set off on your journey, you have this many points to distribute among, you know, for your class, and then it just says you have this many points remaining. How many would you like to distribute to health? It just says init points, which is the amount of points you have to distribute, equals init points minus init HP. So minus the amount you want to distribute to HP, and then it just adds those to HP and minuses the rest. It says, you know, if you've entered in more than 18, sorry, but try again, loops back around. And then it says how many points you would like to distribute to attack, and does the same, and same for the defense and the speed. And then level up is the GUI that's called when you level up. So it says if get XP is greater than or equal to level XP, then just level up. And then and get level is less than 2. So this changes here. So that's if you have the XP level up and you're less than the level that takes that amount of XP to level up. So then you come in here, and I've done this so that the amount of points you get to distribute per level, it increases slightly as you go up. So, you know, at level 1 you get 10 points to level up, whereas at level 11 you get at level 2 you get 11, and then at level 100 you'll get 109 points to level up that you get to distribute. I mean, it could probably be implemented a bit better, but I think it works as a simple implementation of it. So it just says, you know, see out, you've leveled up, you have this many points to distribute, and then pretty much calls the initializer again. It's, you know, how many would you like to distribute to health? You have this many remaining, and then it's the same, initialize HP, level points minus initialize HP. If it's greater than 0, then just add it, else, sorry, you've entered too many points, loop back around. And then it does the same for attack, defense, and speed. And then down here is where it increases the level. So you've got level XP is, so like the amount of XP it'll take to level up again is the amount of XP it took to level up this time plus 100 multiplied by the level. So, you know, when you level up to level 2, it'll be level XP plus 200. So it'll be 300 XP to level up, and then it'll be just keep increasing. It has quite a high curve, but I did that because the enemies are going to level up with you anyway, so you get higher amounts of XP as you go up. So then you'll end up getting more XP and having more leveling up kind of at the same rate, but it'll be harder to defeat the enemies. And then add level just pluses 1 to the level. I then have the change form class, which is just, you know, for the evolution. I didn't get to implement it properly, but it seems to be working here. So this would be if you're whatever level it takes for Virix to level up, then level up. And if it's Virix, then while he's leveling up, just see out, and then you set its class to Virixus, which is the second form. You add 50 to his health, 35 to his attack, 20 to his defense, and 35 to his speed. And then grow just increases his, like, changes his form to 2. Just the enumerator value. It's not an enum, but it just kind of, it's used to show simply what form they are. So you can just go, you know, say if you wanted, if I'm making an enemy, I just have to go enemy dot set form 2, and then he'll be a Virixus if it's a Virix. And then yeah, it says congratulations, you've grown into whatever, and then it's this checks if he's Virixus, then he goes up to a Virixaga, he gains more, and then if he's a Virixaga, he goes up to a Virixair, and then he adds more stats to himself, so he keeps getting stronger. And then Arquail only has 3 forms because Virixus is the unstable one, so he levels up more frequently. Well, changes form more frequently, sorry. So then, but Arquail and Anorok both get slightly higher stats for each level, for each change form, and they get stats based on their strengths and weaknesses. So pretty much what their strength is supposed to be gets leveled up more. So Virix gets more speed and attack, whereas Arquail gets a nice balance with higher health. And then Anorok gets much higher health and much higher defense, but much lower attack and speed. There's the grow function there, just mform++. And then this is a choose starter GUI, so it just see out which starter you want to choose. It'll be companion for life, it puts out the menu. This is for the Virix case. It tells you about him, asks if you want him. If you say no, then it exits back out and asks which would you like to choose. And then if you want to nickname him, yes or no. If you say yes, it asks what nickname would you like to give him. If you say no, then it just says okay, he's not nicknamed. And then it sets his name to his class, so it'll set it to Virix. And then it just, here's where we just set his stats to make him a basic Virix. And then this is what you call the initializer. So at the end of the initializer, it turns init Kansas to false, and then that exits out of this. Otherwise, you know, you've initialized incorrectly, so you've already spent too many points, and then it'll loop back around. And then it's the same for Arquail and Anorok, really. And I'm going to show my main app now. So I've got my inclusion guard, I don't have my inclusion guard, sorry. I've got include libraries and variables, and then my using libraries. And then I have my main. I've got an enum here for fighting and quitting. And then I make my default player here. And then here's where I call my choose starter function, which outputs the starter GUI. And then whilst the hero is still alive, and then I call the level up system here, so every time it loops around, which it'll do after a fight, it checks to see if you're able to level up. And if you can, it levels you up. If you can't, it just carries on. Here's where I make my opponent. It's hard coded because I was having some issues with it, but it works, this way it works. And then it just says, what would you like to do, fight or quit? You choose fight, then he goes into the fighting menu, and then it just, you know, it's just that's to display your name, whether or not it's a name or a class. And then pretty much it's just get your attack and a random number. If it's greater than his speed and a random number, your attack goes through, and then it's the opposite for him. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Then it just takes it to his health, and if you defeat him, if not, then here's the dodge and defend. and then the quit just